I think we can start. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness into light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Remember to switch off or put the phone on airplane mode so it won't disturb us. This is the final session. We will I'll make some remarks about putting into practice what we learned yesterday in the 2 sessions and day before yesterday also. So we have had 3 sessions. What happened in those sessions, we will take a quick look and then go ahead. We started with chapter 3, verse 21. This is the essence of Yoga Vaasistha. Chapter 3, verse 21. अनात्मन्यात्मधीर बंध तन्नाशो मोक्ष उच्यते बंध मोक्षो न विद्येते नित्य मुक्तस्य चात्मनः. This is the key verse. It says our problem, our bondage, the root of it is taking the not self as the self, thinking of the not self as the self. What does that mean? It means, I think I am the body. I think I am the mind. I think I am this person. Quite uncritically we take it. And then, so why is it bondage? Because then what will happen to the body and to the person is happening to me. Because I am the body, I am the person, the mind. Body is aging, I am getting old. Body is sick, I am sick. Body will die, I will die. Mind upset, I am upset. Mind is angry, I am angry, frustrated, unhappy, miserable, dissatisfied. All of our problems are because we take body mind as ourselves. But why do we take body mind as ourselves? It is because we do not know what we truly are. We think it's a snake because we don't know the rope. Because of ignorance, error comes. Because of ignorance of our real nature as the Atman, as existence, consciousness, bliss, that's why we think we are the body mind. So the destruction of that root ignorance, the erasure of that root ignorance is called freedom. Tannasha moksha uchyate. You have to remove the identification with the body mind. But how will you remove the identification with body mind? I think I am the body mind. I means the self, the Atma. What is the Atma? Body. What is the Atma? Mind. This personality. Why? Because I do not know the true Atma. That's why. The only way is to know the true nature of the self. So what did we do? We distinguished the self from the not self. Self is unchanging, body is changing, mind is changing, hence I am not body mind. The self is the seer, the body is seen, mind is seen, hence I am not the body mind. The self is conscious, the body and mind are not conscious, hence I am not the body mind. The self is one, the body mind are complex and many, therefore I am not the body mind. The self is inner, the body and mind are psychologically exterior, therefore I am not the body mind. In these ways, various ways of argument which we understand and then try to see as a fact. Is it a fact or not? Slowly we will change our thinking about all this. And once the thinking changes, the feeling will follow also. We will begin to feel and see that actually I am not the body mind. Then what am I? I am the self. I am the Atman. The second line says, Nitya Mukta Atma, ever free self. What does this mean, ever free self? That's what we saw. Yesterday is the first, what I call the experiential knowledge, which is both lecture and meditation. So we reflected upon the nature of the self. that it is the witness consciousness which is experiencing all experiences in life. It is always there, it is unchanging, it is the same in every circumstance. It cannot be damaged, it does not decay or die, and so on and so forth. It is self-luminous, it is directly, effortlessly available to us. It is the open secret. So that we realized about the self. This is what is called Nitya Mukta Atma, the ever free self. No matter what the condition of the body, the self is ever free. You might say, oh, let the Atma be free. That is very good news. The Atma is free. But my problem is not solved. You are the Atma. We tend to use the word Atma as some very technical word. In many Indian languages, Atma has come to mean ghost. So no, Atma means self. Just you, just I. And if I'm convinced and I am the body, then Atma is the body. But what Vedanta is trying to convince me, I am not the body. Remember, keep things where they belong. Remember the principle? जो जहां की चीज है वहीं रहने दो, Mahatma ji. Keep things where they belong. Where does old age belong? Body. Where are the wrinkles? Are there wrinkles in consciousness or in the body? In the body. It's quite observed. I can observe in the body. Therefore, not in consciousness. Old age, body, not in consciousness. Disease, body, not in consciousness. The very fact that I'm aware of pain and disease and old age and all the struggles, the tiredness, all of them means, according to Vedanta, it means it's not in you. That's why you are able to objectify it. The very fact that we are able to objectify the characteristics of the body, good or bad, whatever it is, that means it's an object. It's not in me, the subject. So this is what we saw. Then the question still remains. This is still duality. You have distinguished consciousness from not conscious, the eternal from the non-eternal, the unchanging from the changing, the witness from the witnessed, seer and seen. But it is two. Moment you separate, you are admitting indirectly, you are admitting there are two things. That's how you are able to separate. But now comes the grand truth, that not necessarily the seer is separate from the seen, but is the seen separate from the seer? The clay is separate from the pot. What do I mean by clay is separate from the pot? Before the pot was, it was clay. After the pot will be broken, it will be clay. When the pot exists, it is still clay. So the clay exists other than the pot. Clay need not be a pot. But can the pot be something other than clay? I don't say it will be a metal pot. That's not the pot is nothing but the clay pot is nothing but clay. It's not different from the clay. Clay is different from the clay pot, but the clay pot is not different from the clay. One must understand this. Then we will understand that though the consciousness is different from the world is not different from consciousness. Uttarakhand sadhus, they will say like this: जगत तीन काल में नहीं है महात्मा जी, आपका प्रकाश स्वरूप का ख्याल है, ये खेल है महात्मा जी. The world in all its diversity and tremendous drama has no existence apart from the light which you are. It's a movie, it's a hologram playing in the light which you are. What is that light? First of all, it's not there. It is nothing but light. Second, you are that light. If there is a world, it's you. Other than you, no world. In either case, it's fine. So, then we went to verse number 2, which told us this consciousness which you have isolated, it's actually not an isolated consciousness. It is all that there is. The three worlds, the world does not exist in three periods of time, past, present and future. It's an appearance in the light which you are. Verse number 2. Chidakaram idam sarvam jagadityeva bhavayet sthita ityupashantastha sabrahma kavacha sukhi. It says, realize that this entire universe is consciousness. Which consciousness? There is only one consciousness, you. And when you realize this, you attain serenity. Be centered in that serenity, you will always be happy. It is as if you are wearing an armor. You will not be hit by the arrows, slingshots, kicks and blows of life. You are an under armor. Yes, yesterday I said under armor. What is the armor? Brahman. Brahma kavacha sukhi. You have the armor of Brahman on you, so you are safe. It is like the old story of the man, the king, who said, whose foot was pricked by a thorn. He said, cover the kingdom with leather. Then the wise minister said, it is much easier. Here is the leather shoes. Please put on this, your majesty. Then the whole kingdom is covered with leather. Instead of changing the entire world, there should be nothing which will prick me. No old age, disease, death. No, everybody should be all the time nice to me. Everything should go exactly as I want. Everything should be Amazon one day delivery. Everything should be perfect. No, that can never happen. But it can happen. If you put on leather shoes, under armor, which is the under armor? I am Brahman. Then it's just like that then. It's perfect. Nothing will be a problem to you. And you will not be a problem to others. We don't realize how much of a problem we are to others. You will not be a problem to others. You will be a blessing to others. The world will be joy and you will be a joy to the world. So, this is the teaching of Vedanta. Vedanta is simple. It's complete here. Remember the mirror example. 3 ways of thinking about consciousness. 3 examples I gave yesterday. 3 paradigms. Think of consciousness as a light and all the objects which are illumined by that light. That is Sankhya. Think of consciousness as a sky and everything is in that sky, but still different from the sky. But it is all given space, existence in the sky and illumined there. Then the third one is consciousness as a mirror and all objects, the universe, like a city in a mirror. No existence apart from the mirror. And in fact, even in the mirror, when you see the city reflected in the mirror, what is it? Mirror only. The building you see in the mirror, if you go and touch, will you touch a building? If you see an apple in the mirror, you touch it, will you touch an apple? No, it will be the mirror. It's always mirror, mirror, mirror. Similarly, the universe appears in consciousness. Therefore, upon examination, everything in the universe will reveal that it is consciousness alone. It's an appearance in consciousness. So, these 3, I am not the body-mind, I am pure consciousness, ever problem-free, immortal. And this pure consciousness is non-dual. There is no object apart from it. It's like the mirror in which the city is appearing. Non-dual pure consciousness. Then Advaita is, this is completion of Advaita Vedanta. You can dwell on it and see how it solves our problems, solves or dissolves our problems. The problems at the level of the world, at the level of the body will go on. It will not change those things. But to you, it will not matter anymore. You will be safe from it. And you will be able to deal with it better. You will be a great agent for peace and blessedness in the world. These 3 steps, one Swami put it nicely. I think he must have been a farmer before becoming a Swami. He was in UP, there. So he put it this way, that maybe as a farmer, maybe a village person, because only who can see this daily life. He says, just as a farmer takes the water out from the well and then scatters it across the field, similarly, you must retrieve pure consciousness from the well of the body-mind and then scatter it across the universe. Now, it's not a good example. Not that you are actually pulling out, put a bucket inside the body and pull out pure consciousness and then throw it on somebody else. No. But you should just take the principle of it. First is the step of discrimination, separation. Pure consciousness other than body-mind, as the witness of the body-mind. Then I am that pure consciousness. And then everything is that pure consciousness. Other that pure consciousness alone is, everything else is an appearance in that pure consciousness. This is non-duality. This is Advaita Vedanta. Now what? I'll give you two medical examples. again told by two Swamis, again in the Himalayas, in the Uttarakhand actually. Two examples. One Swami, he said, this I was not present, but I heard it. So one of the disciples, a gentleman, he had a surgery to be performed. So when the Swami saw that gentleman, who was a devotee, said, well, is your surgery, has the procedure been performed? And the gentleman said, no. The doctor said, I have high diabetes, so the sugar levels have to be brought under control. Then only the surgery has to be performed. Why? The doctor said, if the sugar levels are not controlled and we perform the surgery, it will lead to complications. The sugar level is brought under control, we perform the procedure, then the problem will be solved. The disease will be cured. Otherwise, it will lead to many complications, serious condition. Then the Swami became very excited. He said, exactly like this. Oh monks, exactly like this. First of all, the diabetes of worldliness, desire, impurity, that must be brought under control. The first step in Vedanta, I am not the body mind, is a surgery. You see, we did a surgery. Not the body, not the mind, we did a surgery. That surgery is a philosophical surgery, analytical surgery. That surgery can be performed safely only on the basis of a healthy body mind. That means a pure life, a disciplined life. If there are impurities in the mind, that means like high sugar, diabetes, like that. If there are impurities in character, if you perform the surgery, it will lead to complications. What will be the complication? When everything is fine, I will say I am the Atman. When someone misbehaves with me, immediately I am the person again. And this happens. People say all the time, I understand what you have taught, Swami. Everything is wonderful. I am the pure consciousness. That's not my problem. My problem is my son does not listen to me. From where have you jumped? Where is son in pure consciousness? I am pure consciousness. Then that son is also you, the pure consciousness. When you say, now my son doesn't listen to me, what has happened? You have jumped back from pure consciousness into body, mind, into the personality. Then only son, then only relation with the son. So this surgery is not a clean surgery. Under pressure, you immediately jump back into the body-mind identity. Complications. All sorts of complications. One funny story I had heard. One Swami in an ashram, he saw one devotee restlessly looking here and there. What happened? Oh, I lost some money, I dropped some money. How much money? So 500 rupees, Swamiji. For 500 rupees, you have come to the place of the Lord. Sit in front of the Lord and meditate. Why are you bothering about money? Let it go. Somebody will pick it up. What is it to you? Oh yeah, you are right. He said, you are right. And he went and sat in front of the Lord in the temple. Few days later, he had come and he saw the ashram is in chaos. The Swami is in a furious temper, and all the poor people, servants working in the monastery, they are standing like this. And the Swami is saying, thieves, the lot of you, I will call the police and hand you over to the police. And the devotee asked, Swami, what's wrong? He said, I had kept 20 rupees, I know, on this table. Now it is missing. One of these rascals has stolen it. But Swami, that day I came and I said, I had lost 500 rupees. You said you have come to the place of the Lord. Concentrate on God. Why are you thinking of... Now it is only 20 rupees. And the Swami, with equal anger, he said, that was your 500 rupees. This is my 20 rupees. It happened to me also once. Now, usually I put on a shirt, but this traditional monks, they generally don't do this. They put the stitched clothes. So, now the story is, some senior monks had seen in the monastery. So they wear a chadar and a dhoti. Now, when devotees bow down, it's customary to offer some money as a, it's called pranami, as a salutation and a gift offering to the monk. So somebody gave 10 rupees or 20 rupees to the Swami. I would notice, he would tuck it into the dhoti, in the waist of the dhoti, like this, you tuck it in. Now, I wear a shirt, But when I was in the Himalayas, at that time I was not wearing a shirt. I was wearing this dhoti and then a thick shawl I would wrap around myself. I was practicing austerity. Now a devotee with great devotion and humility offered me 20 rupees, but now I don't have a shirt. Where will I put it? Then I remembered what the old monks do. So I tucked it into the waist of my dhoti like this. But I'm not used to it. I don't know the exact way of doing it. By the time I came back to my cottage in the evening, at sunset, it gets very dark there. No electricity in those days. So I went into my cottage, and it's very dark inside the cottage also. I lit a lamp, and to my horror, the 20 rupees was not there. It had fallen off somewhere. Now time for evening, time for meditation, nothing else. You can't go out. It's howling wind and cold outside and blinding dark. So I sat for meditation, but I meditated on 20 rupees. Where did it fall? On the bridge or in the place where we gave bhiksha? There. See, clean cut. I am not the body mind. I am the witness consciousness. It requires a previous cleaning up of the mind, of life. One sadhu put it this way. I'll tell you in Hindi and then translate. Chodoge to sahi Mahatma ji, tanik saaf karke chodo. You will leave it. You will step back from body mind, but clean it up first. Clean up your life before you leave it. Don't leave a mess behind. If you leave a mess, the mess will not leave you. It will follow you into Atman, Brahman, pure consciousness. Now, on a serious note, this is the reason why there are sometimes, faults in spiritual life. People say, I'm very disappointed with the behavior of my guru or the great master. He is so great, so many slokas he knows, he has learned so many books, but he's losing his temper. Or some fault, some serious fault in spiritual life we have seen. Why? Because without the perfection of character, without the discipline, preliminary discipline, before all of this, parallel with all of this, what will happen is, this will remain like one can intellectually convince oneself. One actually will feel, I got it. Yes, it's quite obvious. I am the witness consciousness. I am perfect as witness consciousness. But when pressure comes, life gives you kicks and blows, trouble comes, suddenly I will react as the body mind. Both ways, temptation and terror, anxiety, desire, all of these, suddenly I will start reacting as that same person. As Americans say, you are the same old dude. So, the preliminary, that's why there is a great emphasis on sadhana, spiritual practice. Okay, this is one medical example of the diabetes. So, surgery, before the surgery is performed, of course we can study all this, but before it becomes effective, discipline and purity are necessary. Sadhana is necessary. What sadhana? First of all, dharmic life, ethical life, based upon that devotion, service, meditation, unselfish life, devotion to God. Very important, because the same love which goes out as 100 desires into the world, that is collected and sent towards God as bhakti. As our desires in the world become less, bhakti will increase. As our bhakti increases, desires will become less. That's why bhakti, devotion to God, is very powerful in the path of jnana. On this path, it is very helpful. Meditation. No matter how much I feel I am pure consciousness witness, let the mind be restless. I am the witness of the restless mind. But Vedanta says the mind has to be controlled through yoga. Then only you will be able to live the life of a Jivan Mukta. Free while living, mind has to be controlled, and yoga is particularly useful there. Second medical example, let me give. Another Swami, this one I know. I saw this. That one gentleman came to this Swami. This was in Haridwar, Kankhal. And he had a kidney transplant. And then the Swami was asking him, Swami did not know much about modern medicine. He was asking him, so how are you? How is it going? It's a marvel that another organ can be put in your body. And this gentleman said, I'm fine, but I have to observe strict diet restrictions and medicines. So many medicines I have to take. Oh, why? The operation was performed successfully. Now, why do you have to observe these restrictions and take so many medicines? The gentleman explained that the doctor told me, if I do not take these medicines and follow the restrictions, the body will not accept the new organ, new kidney as a part of itself. I will not get the benefits of the new kidney. And third, body may actually reject the new kidney and it may die. So for this to enable the proper integration and functioning of the new kidney, I need to follow these restrictions. Now the Swami became very excited. Yahi to hai Mahatma Ji, turned excitedly to the other gathered, us we are gathered, monks and devotees. Once if you feel you have learned Vedanta, if you feel excited by it, if you feel I have got it, then immediately one must redouble precautions and sadhana. Like this. It is like the new kidney which has been brought into your system, into your mind, into your personality. To integrate it, to make it your own, to make sure it is not rejected by the mind, and to get the benefit from it. To make it your own, Aham Brahmasmi, not to reject it. What is rejection? Is that I read it, but I read all those books at one time. Now I'm not really interested. It made no impact on me. Or another symptom of rejection is, I read it, I've understood it, so what? Or I've understood it, I like it, but my life has not changed. In every case, it has not been accepted into the personality. Personality has not been transformed. And benefit. I am not getting the benefit. Getting the benefit of the new organ, not getting the benefit. Sorrow is continuing. I am still unfulfilled. What was the original promise? Prayojana, the necessity for all of this. Dukkha nivritti ananda prapti. Cessation of sorrow, overcoming sorrow, and attainment of fulfillment. I must be honest, have I attained that? If I have not, then I have some distance to go. So he said, just like the new organ, similarly this Vedantic knowledge which you have got, I am Brahman, this knowledge which you have got, all the analysis which you did, all of this will be useful only when you surround it with precautions, diet restriction, medicine. What is that? The same sadhanas which we were doing earlier. The same japa, same meditation, same seva, same scriptural study and strict ethical life. Surround it with those. In Vedantic terms, especially excellence in sadhan chatushtaya. I will not go into that, just mention the list. It's a formidable list, intimidating list. Viveka, discernment, eternal and non-eternal. Vairagya, utter dispassion for world and worldliness. Shamadamadi Shat Sampatti, the sixfold disciplines. What are the sixfold disciplines? So here they are cheating a little. They are packed 6 into 1. What is the sixfold discipline? It's called the sixfold treasure. Sampatti, treasure. What are they? They are disciplines. 1, calmness of mind, shamaha. Damaha, control of the senses. Sense organs, also motor organs, control. Then titiksha, a fortitude, toughness. In spite of all problems, I will continue on my spiritual path. Then uparati, a withdrawal from too much engagement in the world. You can't combine it with too much busyness. You can't combine it with too much partying in the world. You must withdraw. Uparati, turn inwards. Having turned inwards, samadhana, focus, focus, focus. And then number 6, shraddha, a deep abiding faith in the text and the teacher, that there is something really valuable here. Let me pursue it and get it. Finally, mumukshutvam, the 4th one is mumukshutvam, intense desire for freedom. So these ones have to be cultivated. Especially when you feel, I've got it, I really like it, then it's like the new kidney transplant. You have to be careful and become more intense in your sadhana. Okay. Now, let us do a little bit of reading, then we will go into Q&A. Chapter 3. We will read a few verses and I will give some comments on them. Now we can understand those verses. You will also see why I went to verse number 21 first and then 2 next. The rest will just follow. Verse number 1. तत्त्वात्मबोध एवैक सर्वाशत्रिणपावकः प्रोक्त समाधि शब्देन न तु तुष्णिम् अवस्थितिः. The realization of oneness of Brahman with the Atman alone burns away all the latent desires of worldly enjoyments like a fire, and that state is actually called samadhi. Merely abiding in silence is not samadhi. So this is an old fight between jnanis and yogis. I met a yogi in the Himalayas who was meditating. So I asked him, what are you trying to do? He says, I was trying to attain samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi. Then, of course, I like Vedanta. So I said, we are talking in Hindi. Do you like Vedanta? Vedanta kaisa lagta hai aapko? So he said, it's all right. But they talk a lot. They don't have experience. वेदांत बहुत बात करते हैं, अनुभूति नहीं है उनको. They just talk and read and argue and give lectures. But so the idea is, in meditation alone, the experience will be attained. And what is meditation? Sitting silently and being absorbed, shutting out the world, shutting down the activities of the body, shutting down the activities of the senses, quietening and silencing and stilling the mind without falling asleep, and being absorbed in the object of meditation. The absorption will become so much that I am absorbed, that also will go away. That which you are meditating, that alone will stay, that is samadhi. And there are various kinds of samadhis. And that alone is enlightenment, according to the yogis. But the reply from the jnanis is, this is the reply. The reply from the jnanis is, that is not enlightenment. Our problem is that ignorance. We do not know who we are. And we have to realize who we are. What is that realization? Tattva Atma Bodha. I am, the reality I am. What is the reality? Brahman. Existence, consciousness, bliss, limitless pure consciousness. That I am. Aham Brahmasmi. That itself, that is enlightenment. And that is what is called samadhi. The realization that I am Brahman, staying like that, whether you're sitting quietly with eyes closed in meditation or eyes are open, you're active in the world. In either case, if you're centered in Brahman, your real nature as pure consciousness, that is samadhi. It does not mean that you have to sit quietly with eyes closed. It can be with eyes open also. It is called sahaja samadhi, even higher than nirvikalpaka samadhi, where naturally undisturbed that remains all the time. At will, the jnani can plunge into samadhi, nirvikalpaka samadhi, or if necessary, engage with the world also. And the jnani does not see any difference thereby. Does not think that in nirvikalpa samadhi alone is spirituality. When I'm opening my eyes and talking and walking around and eating, going to beg for my alms, that is world. That's not Brahman. No. According to Vedanta, that is ignorance. So enlightenment is realizing I am Brahman. And what is the check for that? The check, he says, criterion, sarvashatrina pavaka. It will destroy all worldly desire. If after realizing I am Brahman, I still have got many worldly desires. Why just desires? Complaints, grumbling. One sign of enlightenment is one consequence of enlightenment is you lose all right to grumble. We love to complain, but an enlightened person cannot complain. You never heard of an enlightened person complaining. Never. In any religion, any spiritual tradition in the world. Even if they seem to complain, it's usually for the sake of teaching somebody else. But for themselves, they have no problem at all. So, it will burn away all worldly desires and complaints and grumbling. That's the check. Not merely sitting quietly. So, this is the poke at the yogis. Remember, however, meditation is a very powerful spiritual tool. He is not saying that you should not meditate. This is not an excuse not to meditate. Yoga Vaasistha said, what's the use of sitting quietly? But why he is putting this way? Remember the original project of Vaasistha. He wants Ramachandra to be engaged in life. So he says, you want to go away to a forest or a cave and sit quietly? Ramachandra says, yes. No, sitting quietly is not enlightenment. Realizing the truth that I am Brahman, whether sitting quietly or with eyes open, in retirement, in the forest, in the palace, on the battlefield, wherever, the same reality effortlessly is there for you, then you are enlightened. Sri Ramakrishna saying that with eyes open, eyes closed, God is there. With eyes open, God is not there. What kind of God is that? That's what he means here. Also, a very powerful verse. You will see in the notes given by Dhireshanandaji. You will see on page 110 in my book 110. At the end, there is a verse from Aparoksha Anubhuti, 65th verse. Quite a powerful verse. What is the verse? Sarvopi vyavaharastu brahmana kriyate janaihi ajnanatna vijananti mrideva hi ghatadikam. All activities are done in and through Brahman. People don't know it because of ignorance. Example, clay and pot. What does it mean? Can you carry water in clay? Our first reaction would be no. But no, we can make the clay into a pot and carry water. Can you arrange flowers in clay? No, but we could make the clay into a flower vase. You can arrange flowers in the flower vase. In fact, whatever is done in that clay pot, whatever is done, store water, milk, make it a flower vase, flower pot, whatever you do, all of it is actually being done with clay only. Only through clay all of it is done. You say, no, it's done in the pot, Swami. But the pot has no existence apart from the clay. It is clay and clay alone. To prove it, take the clay away and then keep your water in the pot. It will become wet, mess. No water, no pot will be there, no water also will be there. So the pot, every activity done with the clay pot is being done by clay. First of all, understand the example. Then the consequence will be, the implication will be stunning. The implication then is everything that goes on in the world is being done in and through and by Brahman. Does Brahman, limitless consciousness, does it drive a car? Yes. First answer, no. Brahman is, if you have a lot of Vedanta, Brahman is beyond action. Brahman, what do you mean? There is no car, there is no person, no driving. Brahman, limitless consciousness. Ignorance. The same limitless consciousness is there right now. And there you see Brahman driving the car, Brahman as the car, Brahman as the driver, Brahman as the driving. Literally so. What else is there? The consequences, this is post-enlightenment. Pre-enlightenment, none of that, neti. Post-enlightenment, iti, this. Can you see Brahman? No, you cannot see Brahman, hear Brahman, smell Brahman, taste Brahman, touch Brahman. You cannot think about Brahman, you cannot express Brahman in language. No. And then after enlightenment, yes, you are seeing Brahman. What else is this? For the enlightened one. I remember when I was first introduced this concept, I didn't get it at all. There's a great master, I think one of the few Jivan Muktas I have met. His name was Ram Maharaj, Swami Mokshadanandaji. And as a young novice, one day I was sitting and talking with, I loved visiting him. I don't know how much I understood at that time, but the few times he taught me something, I still remember it at least. I don't know if I've understood it. One of the first times, realization of Brahman is the goal. I was sitting in this room, it's somehow he had a presence. Everything became more alive, sharp, high definition around him. He was this little old man and his frizzy hair like a bit like Einstein, fluffy white hair and the twinkle in his eyes. He was quite sick. 10, 12 hours in a day he had to take oxygen. He was lying on his bed or sitting on the bed, and there was a window in that room, and outside the Ganga and the trees and all of that you could see. He said, Brahman, here it is. See, I was looking at the window. That, it's a tree. It's a river. This is Brahman. He sighed. He said, all right, it will happen in its own time. And here am I, nearly 30 years later, talking about it. So vivid. But he knew, that old man knew. One of my predecessors in New York, Swami Pavitranandaji, was a disciple of Swami Brahmananda. So about him, it used to be said, the Americans at that time, he was there in 1950s, 60s, he passed away in 76. They used to say about him, he used to live on the Upper West in Manhattan. In that street in the Upper West lives a little old man who carries the secret of the universe in his pockets. He knew. There's an extraordinary quality to such people. Through Brahman alone, everything is being done. And does Brahman conduct business, cook food, eat food? Yes, yes, yes. Does Brahman fight battles, do bad things? Yes, yes, yes. But yet, no. This you realize on the other side of realization. First of all, no. First of all, if you say these things, it will be like my reaction. It's a tree. What? The tree is Brahman. What does it mean? Are we supposed to imagine it? No, it is through thorough investigation into Vedanta. When you grasp it, then you begin to see, and then you have an aha moment. Oh, I see. Yes, yes, of course, of course. Does Brahman become an atheist and disbelieve in Brahman? Of course. All of that. What else is it except that? So, Sarvoti Vyavahara, all activities are done through Brahman. Then I'm skipping number 2 because we have already done it. Number 3. Sarvatita Padalambi Purnendu Shishirashayah Yastisthati Sada Yogi Sa Eva Parameshwaraha. The cool-hearted yogi who's like a full moon. Actually, the literal translation would be whose mind is full of cool dewdrops. Shishirashaya. Shitala, cool inside. Always takes refuge and remains in the state of Brahman, which is beyond all states. He truly is the supreme Ishvara. He's one with God in that sense. Sarvatita, beyond body, beyond mind, beyond the physical body, subtle body, causal body, beyond the 5 koshas, the physical, the vital, the mental, the intellectual, the causal, the bliss kosha, pancha kosha. The witness underlying the 3 states of waking, dreaming, deep sleep, the turiya. That one, Sarvatita, Padalambi, who attains to that or who's centered in that realization. So it's a pada, it's a state, but it's not a state, it is the reality. Others are states. Is like, then the mind of that one is Brahman, limitless existence, consciousness, bliss, but the effect, side effect, benefit, the mind of that one will be cool. Shishirashaya, like accumulated dewdrops, very poetically it is said. Swami Turiyanandaji, in his old age, he says he had many diseases. He was in Banaras in the hospital. And he says to the monks who were attending to him, he says, you see the Bayred Jala Jantrana, the burning, the pain and discomfort of the disease, his old age and all that. He had high diabetes, blood pressure, things like that. So you see all that, and the pain and all that, exhaustion, you see it outside. Then his words are very interesting. Bhetorta Thakur borof kore diyechen. Inside, by the grace of, he would always say, grace of Sri Ramakrishna, it is like ice inside. The Shishirashaya, cool inside. The troubles at the level of the body, they do not touch. And the effect, you say, yes, Atman, Brahman is not touched by the word, correct. Even the mind of the Jivan Mukta is not touched. That is the sign of the Jivan Mukta. Body may be affected. Yes, the Jivan Mukta is not the body, not the mind, and it is pure consciousness. The mind will have that effect, and the mind will be also free from suffering. The mind will register the suffering, at the same time be free from suffering. That is the thing. Let me give this example. I've given many times, but two examples which actually should be read together. Well-known example, the same Swami Turiyananda, when he was a young boy, Hari, he comes to Sri Ramakrishna dying of throat cancer. And he asks this bedridden cancer patient, how are you today, sir? And Sri Ramakrishna says, it hurts. I can't eat. True, he's not acting. But this boy, for some reason, he says, but sir, I see you are in great bliss. Apni Mahanande achen. How he sees that, what he sees, we don't know, but he sees something. And Sri Ramakrishna confirms it. He laughs and he says, the rascal has found me out. Chala dhare niye. The rascal has found me out. That means both are true at the same time. That pain, that effect is there, just like any other patient, and yet the mind is, for some reason, the mind is so cool, so peaceful, so blissful. In the midst of the problem also, I'm fine. Not by force of will. Clearly that person is seeing, I am fine, because I am Brahman. I'm fine. Later on, this is one story. I've told this many times, but it should be followed up by another one which is not so well known. A few days after this, the same boy, Hari, who became Turiyananda, he had some further doubts. So he wanted to clarify. He goes and asks Sri Ramakrishna, sir, do you feel all these things? Mahashaya, এসব কি আপনার অনুভব হয়? That means he wants to ascertain, actually, yes, you are in bliss. But the pain of it, are you feeling it? The discomfort of it, are you actually feeling it or not feeling it? Then his answer, Sri Ramakrishna's answer is a very good clue to the state of a Jivan Mukta. He says in Bengali, Tomar eshab ki kotha? What kind of talk is that? Shorir ki sadhu hoy, moni sadhu hoy. Does the body ever become enlightened? It is the mind which becomes enlightened. The body will go in its own way and it will perish one day. I am fine in the sense that my real spiritual nature is fine. The mind is also fine. Spirituality will convert the mind, will spiritualize the mind. You don't have to spiritualize the Atman or Brahman. It's already fine. Spirituality spiritualizes the mind. One funny story about cool. I met this monk in the high Himalayas. We are sitting next to each other. He was a tough old monk and perpetually angry. At least that's what he looked like. He has a grim face and angry. And I asked him, what's your name? He said, Mera naam hai Shitalananda Giri. It's in Sanskrit. It means whose bliss is in being cool. I think his guru named him that because he knew that he had a hot temper. Named him Shitalananda Giri. Number 4. Brahmopanishadam tattvam bhavayan yo antaratmana nodvegi na chatushtatma samsare na vasidati. One who meditates in his heart upon the truth of the Upanishadic Brahman never gets overwhelmed by any type of worldly suffering and always remains free from anxiety and excitement. So, how do you save yourself from suffering? How does the enlightened one save himself from suffering? What that one has realized, that one spends some time in that clarity, in that realization, every day. So Sri Ramakrishna asked his Advaita Guru, Totapuri, the monk, the naked monk. Then traditionally, the students never take the name of the Guru. It's considered rude. So they would always refer to Guru as my Guru or some other epithet. And Sri Ramakrishna would refer to his Guru as the naked one, never by the name. So he noticed that his Guru would meditate daily, and he was an expert meditator. When he meditates, he goes into samadhi. Daily he would meditate, go into samadhi. Now he asked, why do you do that? You're already enlightened. You don't need to. He said, no, but he had this brass pot. Monks carry a water pot. It's called a kamandalu. And he said, unless brass, unless you polish it, it takes a taint, like a cover. It gets a covering. It loses its shine. He says, see, it has to be polished daily, otherwise it will lose its shine. Similarly, the mind in which we have realized, I am Brahman, that's done, no doubt. But the mind has to be immersed in that realization daily, otherwise a layer of worldliness will come over it. So, this is what he's saying. Brahma Upanishadang Tattvam. The reality revealed by the Upanishads. What is that? Brahman. Bhavayan, meditating. Yo antaratmana, in your heart of hearts, in the mind. That means samadhi. Settle your mind. This is closed eye samadhi. So, there one should not say, but I know Brahmarpanam Brahmavi. In all activities you see Brahman. That is cheating. It's usually my mind is restless, that's why I don't want to meditate, that's why I'm seeing Brahman with open eyes. Why do I need to see Brahman with closed eyes? A restless fellow, that's why. So, like this. The monks in the Himalayas have a little story which illustrates this. What is the story? The mongoose and the snake. So the story is that the mongoose fights against the snake, which is not a story, which happens. You can see it on National Geographic or Discovery Channel. It's quite amazing. I've also seen it. Mongoose fighting against the snake. You see it in the Himalayas, in the forests there. But the snake is poisonous. And the poison, sometimes the snake manages to bite the mongoose. Now the story is, I don't know how true it is, but the monks swear it is true. The mongoose, if it's bitten by a poisonous, venomous snake, it runs away into the forests. And there is a particular, they say jadi booty, there is a particular herb which it knows. It goes and chews on that herb. And that counteracts the venom. Then it comes back again and fights against the snake. Now the monks use it as an example. If, they say, oh monk, you want to dance with Maya, be careful. Even if you're enlightened. So once in a while, you must turn around, withdraw, and settle yourself in Brahman, in that samadhi and meditation. That's the herb. I have told you earlier, I quoted that monk. दिन में कम से कम दिन में एक बार देख लो महात्मा जी वस्तु कैसी है. Once in a while, take a look. Once in a while, switch off the movie. Otherwise, you know it's a movie, it can still entrap you. You get carried away by that. Naudvegi natushtatma. The world will not be able to disturb you. The world will not be able to please you either. It will not be a source of a pull. My source of happiness is there. No. That is a source of disturbance to me. No. It is nothing to me. I am perfectly fine. No matter what happens in the movie. One more verse and we'll stop and take Q&A. Fifth one. Yatha parvatamadiptam nashrayanti mrigadvijaha tadvad brahma vidam dosha nashrayanti kadachana. As birds and animals do not take shelter in a mountain engulfed in a wildfire, similarly evils like lust, anger, greed, these things never ever touch the knower of Brahman. So, if one sees, I am enlightened, but I lose my temper, it's my 20 rupees. Then there's something wrong with that enlightenment. He says here, like a forest fire. You see, luckily you don't have too much of it on this side. But in California, forest fire. So imagine a mountain lit on forest fire. All the birds and animals fly away from there. They run away from it. Similarly, all the evils, anger, lust, greed, hatred, fear, anxiety, all the evils, negativities, they all run away from the mind which has been lit on the fire of knowledge. I am Brahman. That means the fire of knowledge has become manifest. It's burning. It's a fire now. Otherwise, it remains like, I get it. I get it is not enough. It must be lived. It must be demonstrated in life, at least for one's own benefit. That's why Swami Vivekananda's words, manifestation of the divinity in life, not just knowledge of the divinity. It must be manifested, Vivekananda says, in every movement of life, in our speech, in our thinking, in our emotions, in our behavior. That I am Brahman, it must be reflected. If you're enlightened, like a Buddha, then some Buddha-like qualities must be in us. If you're enlightened, like some Vivekananda-like qualities must be in us. You expect some of the qualities of a saint if a person is enlightened. So, one more verse is there after this, which is, I will tell you a little bit, 2 minutes and then stop. Number 6 is an interesting verse, if that's the one I'm talking about. Yes. In the case of an enlightened one also, you may see vikara, some manifestations of anger, for example, or unhappiness, for example, even grumbling. Don't be misled. And those things come up, they are not under the sway of those things. They may come up, either the enlightened one generates those as a test for oneself or for the welfare of others. I'll give you an example and then stop. So Swami Premananda, he was in Belur Mutt, a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and he was such a loving person. Many young men were attracted to monastic life because of him. Many devotees also were attracted because of his behavior, of his affection, his love. So one young man who became a monk, he says, he gives this example. He says, once I was talking to Swami Premananda and I saw he was scolding a brahmachari, a novice. Maybe the brahmachari had made some mistake. And Swami Premananda was very fair. So when he was scolding, his face became flushed red with anger. And I was standing behind him, watching him furiously scold a young monk. And I thought, at that moment, I thought, oh, this monk has anger. The moment I thought this, Swami Premananda turned towards me, his face as sweet and radiant as before, and talked to me sweetly. I was confused. And more so, a minute later, when he turned back to that brahmachari, and his face became red again and started scolding. Now, that is so don't be, the verse tells you this. This is a secret. It's not that an enlightened one is like a wall, no reaction at all. What happened? Enlightened. Not like that. They will smile, they will laugh, they will shout, they will enjoy, they will scold. But the negativities, if you ever see them, remember two things. They are not under the sway of the negativities themselves. And second, it's usually for the welfare of others. For teaching others or for removing their obstacles. Scolding, often they scold. A lot. All right, let's take some Q&A. We have got half an hour time. Please come here. Yes, come. Tell us your name and ask the question. You'll have to speak closer.
Okay.
Yes.
My
Can
name
you
is...
raise this little bit?
Okay.
Yes.
So, my name is Ishita. I went back home yesterday night and told my friend that I came to hear from you in Vedanta Ashram, and I shared some of my findings, and at the end she was concerned and looked at me, have you become religious right now? Or is it like a spiritual awakening? So I wanted to understand, what's the difference or maybe similarity between religion and spirituality?
Spirituality is the core of religion. Every religion has at its core spirituality. What does spirituality consist of? It is this, what we are doing here, the self-inquiry to discover who or what we truly are. That I am pure consciousness, I am the Atman, and thereby solve our problems at a deep level, existential level. That's one way. Bhakti. Bhakti in what sense? There is a kind of bhakti which is a worldly kind of bhakti. People go to temples, churches and all with desires, and they expect God to fulfill those desires. But in spirituality, that is not the bhakti which we are talking about. Here, bhakti is for God realization. Like Sri Ramakrishna crying before Kali, for a vision of Kali, not for anything worldly. That's also spirituality. God realization is the goal. Meditation. Again, meditation for God realization. Selfless service to the divine in all beings. Karma yoga. These are all spirituality. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raja yoga, jnana yoga, what we are doing now. These are all spirituality. Religion is a bigger term. Belief, rituals, practices, customs, mythology, festivals, all of that. So religion is sort of the outer covering, the husk of the coconut as it were, but the kernel is spirituality. Can one have spirituality without religion? We can. In fact, you are expected ultimately to become spiritual. If you come to religion, ultimately religion to spirituality. Can we have spiritual religion without spirituality? Yes, it's very common, but that's not a good state of affairs. That's why religion gets a bad name. One seems to be mechanically believing in something. So have you become religious? You have to answer that question yourself. I remember many years ago, Swami Ashokananda giving a lecture in the Bay Area. He was the Swami in charge of the Vedanta Society of Northern California in San Francisco in the 1950s. So one lady had obviously complained, and he was saying, yes, you will hear this. Mom is no fun anymore ever since she started becoming spiritual. She's not fun anymore. And I say, good riddance to bad rubbish. At one time, one must become a little more mature. Partying and money and career, all those are good. And none of them will really be harmed. Only the superficial, unessential things which you don't want anymore, does not satisfy you, you let them go. An intelligent way of making one's way through life is to see, there's a saying, by pressing 1 grain of rice in the whole rice pot, you know how much the rice has been cooked. By little, it is power, whether it is academic success, career growth, whatever it is. By a little bit of experience, one realizes, all right, this is what it is. Been there, done that. If one does not realize, it's an intelligent person who realizes that. That's rare. Most of us, we have to repeat it again and again till we get an idea. Oh, I see. Not worth it anymore. So from that, one must graduate to something higher. From that, then beyond one's selfish goes to a selfless doing something for others. I have seen many times, there are people who come, especially people at my age. So those who are married, jobs, kids, they begin to feel at some time, and around the 40s and 50s, they feel locked in. That I know, now I'm mature enough to know this is what my life is going to be. There's nothing much more spectacular that's going to happen in life. And I'm not satisfied with all this. Now what? And I'm not interested in your spirituality. I'm not interested so far in your Atman Brahman. Now what? Now you can do, expand beyond that little life. It could be artistic, scientific. Would you like to write a book? Would you like to paint, dance, something creative? Take up a new degree, study something more? Or even better, would you like to engage in a non-profit or some kind of activity which is beyond the little self or the little family? Often that works. If they take it seriously, if they have that kind of, if they take it up, they find new life coming back. After that comes spirituality. But if somebody has an interest in spirituality at an early age, good for you. Good for you. It's a great blessing. You must pursue it, must investigate it. Investigate and practice something yourself. Friends might say she's no fun anymore. Yes.
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Saraswati. My question, I wanted to get some clarification on teachings I've read from Nisargadatta Maharaja's books. My question is about absolute consciousness, that pure awareness, objectless awareness. He says in that state or that condition, there is no scope for it. It's like it doesn't even know its own existence. So there's no scope for knowledge to be present at that stage. It's only when the knowledge of its own existence arises, as in a thought like I am arises is when any knowledge can occur. So my question is, I guess in the Vedantic paradigm, we always learn about consciousness, pure consciousness being self-aware. So there is that
Never self-aware.
never self-aware.
No.
So it's only
Self-luminous. I remember I used Swaprakasha, that's the term.
Okay.
Self-aware, the moment you say self-aware, already the mind is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what Nisargadatta Maharaj is referring to when he says, when you say I am consciousness exists, then that's because the mind
When you
exists.
say already the body is there, speech is there.
Yeah.
When you think that already mind is there.
Mind is
When you feel it or think it, mind is there. But otherwise, that remains as it is.
So in the absolute consciousness, when we say self-luminous, there's it cannot know itself. It cannot, obviously, it cannot say I am Brahman or it cannot, I mean, that knowledge doesn't exist like I am infinite or I am peace, I am Ananda. So,
And the question is,
and
I think I know the question, but you have asked it.
Well, I understand what knowledge is, as in there is a thought in mind, so that is knowledge, and that knowledge is recognized because of the presence of that consciousness in the background. Knowledge is also an object
Yes.
for consciousness.
Correct. But make the question precise now. We have got the background. I understand what you're trying to say. Let me put it this
If
way.
I ever drop into that consciousness, like, how do I know? How do I know that I got it or I am it?
So, first of all, it's not absolute consciousness. Atman, Brahman is not a condition or a state. It is the reality.
Right.
Okay. Now the problem is we don't know it. That's our condition. This ignorance has to be removed by knowledge. This is like the sun is shining, but it's covered by clouds. We think that the sun is covered by clouds. Actually, it is our vision which is obstructed by the cloud. And a gust of wind comes and removes the cloud, and then the sun is shining. We see it. It was shining earlier also. Similarly, we have the cloud of ignorance. So all of this we are hearing, we are excited about it, but we really don't know it yet. Then knowledge arises, which is called Brahma Jnana. Then we will realize, I am Brahman. But that's still the mind.
Yes.
Yes. Without the mind, that Brahman by itself will never think or feel, I am Brahman. Okay. Now the question is, so isn't it an unsatisfactory state of affairs? Suppose ultimately I will be Nirguna Brahman, absolute Brahman, but I don't know anything. How silly is that?
Yes.
Is it worthwhile? After all this trouble, is this what the prize is? No. It's like this. The human knowledge and ignorance are very petty and flimsy things. Knowledge is still necessary and valuable because it will remove ignorance. Why ignorance has to be removed? It is the source of all our problems. Once that ignorance has been removed, all our problems also will go away at the deepest level. Okay. But what is the nature of that knowledge? It's like this. When I reflect my face in a mirror, I see my face. That's like realizing I am Brahman. What is Brahman? This one, which I am. But without the mirror, I can't see my face like this. That mirror is the knowledge, Brahma Jnana, which will reflect back to me. In fact, we just read Brahma Upanishadam Tattvam. This book is also the mirror. Upanishads are the mirror, which is reflecting back to me that I am Brahman. Once that comes, and the ignorance in the mind is removed, the ignorance in the mind made the error, it go to the error, I am body, I am mind, that will be removed. And then I will get the benefit of that knowledge in the mind. Okay. Now, when we see our face in the mirror, we have no anxiety about carrying the mirror around. Do we ever say, oh, without the mirror, I will not be able to see my face? Then what's the use of having a face? What a useless face it is. It cannot see itself. We will say it is not necessary at all. The face does not depend on the mirror. The mirror depends on the face because this one is reflected. Without it, the mirror will not be able to reflect the face. Similarly, Brahma Jnana just shows me what I am. And the enlightened one's characteristic is, enlightened one has no further anxiety after that. Does the enlightened one chase Brahma Jnana? See, the example which Sri Ramakrishna gives about Brahma Jnana, enlightenment, is a little puzzling for us. The example he gives is, suppose a thorn is in my flesh. I take another thorn, pick it out, and then throw away both. I don't keep the second thorn in my flesh now, very carefully. That second thorn is Brahma Jnana. The thorn of ignorance is in me. The thorn of knowledge is used to root out the ignorance and throw it away. Throw away the thorn of knowledge also. Now, this is not normally how we think about knowledge. I am ignorant about physics. Then I go to CMU and enroll myself in a physics course. And with great difficulty, I generate knowledge, get knowledge about physics, and remove my ignorance about physics. Then why should I throw away the knowledge of physics? Then I'll again become ignorant. No, he's not talking about ordinary knowledge there. He's talking about self-knowledge. The self is already there. Once you remove the ignorance of the self, you see it was always present. It's not that the knowledge made you the self. Look at the verse we read. Nitya Mukta Atma Na Bandhana Moksha. Once you remove the bondage of identification with body mind and you realize I am the self, you will realize actually there was no bondage. The self was always free. Self does not depend on that thorn of knowledge. It may seem wonderful to us, the realization I am Brahman, and truly from our perspective it's wonderful. From the perspective of the enlightened one, it's a thorn. That's why Nisargadatta would say, I am not a knower of Brahman, I am Brahman. If someone claims, I know Brahman, then Kena Upanishad says he does not know. Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya navedasa avijñātam vijānatam vijñātam avijānatam. Those who say, I know Brahman, they know not. Those who do not say that I know Brahman, they know. So it is known to those who do not know and unknown to those who know. It means that as an object, it should not be known.
Maharaj, can I continue this conversation?
You have a follow-up?
Yes.
After this also. All right.
So he's
a couple of additions to this. This knowledge of Brahman is also due to Brahman. It does not mean that Brahman depends on this knowledge. Just this realization of Brahman is also due to Brahman. The body, mind, enlightenment, all is because of Brahman. So all of it depends on Brahman. Brahman doesn't depend on it. Otherwise, you will say that at least Brahman is dependent on Brahma Jnana. Otherwise, we will not know itself. No. Brahma Jnana is dependent on Brahman. Okay. Second, without the Brahma Jnana, is Brahman unknown and unknowable? No. It's a very subtle point. That self-luminosity, in a very subtle sense, there will be no knowledge of I am Brahman. But there will be no ignorance. Right now, after reading all this, one is left with a feeling of ignorance. Oh, this is so nice, but I don't know it. I have not realized it. I am not enlightened. That is ignorance. So after the knowledge of Brahman, suppose that goes away, will we be left with this ignorance again? No. We'll be left with just limitless luminosity. There will be no doubt at all. Yes.
I think you answered my question. My question was going to be, so in absolute consciousness, which does not have knowledge of its own existence, is that what is called the beginningless ignorance or the beginningless Maya that we talk about?
No.
That's not
that is Brahman itself, limitless consciousness. Beginningless Maya, beginningless ignorance is exactly what we have now, right now. We don't think about it in such grand terms. I don't know. That is the beginningless Ajnana Vedanta. Wow. Do you know I have beginningless ignorance? It's not a good thing. Yes.
Thank you, Swami.
Thank you. Come.
Namaskar, Swamiji. I'm Priya. Is there any difference between the awareness we focused on in the meditation session yesterday and consciousness? Because in the second paradigm of consciousness as sky, we saw everything appears is in consciousness, but we need not be aware of everything, which makes it seem like awareness is limited, but consciousness is unlimited.
Yes, that awareness which I spoke about, we need not be aware of anything. That is knowledge. So everything is in consciousness. Some of it is in our knowledge. Some of it is not in our knowledge.
Okay.
Knowledge is a subset. Knowledge is when consciousness is channeled through the mind and the senses. Same consciousness illumining the mind and the eyes will give you knowledge. I see. Through the ears, I hear. And what I see and what I hear will always be a small band of things, small subset of things. Rest of it, I do not see, I do not hear, I do not know, I do not understand. And as that mass of unknown and not understood, not experienced, but that is already in consciousness as the unknown. I gave the example of the dream. In the dream, a tiny part of it seems to be known, but the rest of it unknown, but it is still in the mind of the dreamer.
Another quick clarification. So in the verse 1 of chapter 3, we saw that realization of oneness leads to burning away of all desires.
Yes.
But wouldn't burning away of all desires is more of a precursor to realization rather than a consequence?
No, desires may be purified, suppressed, overcome, but the seeds of desire will remain until enlightenment. Jnanagni bhasmasat kurute. The fire of enlightenment burns the seeds of desires to ashes. Because if you overcome the desires, certainly purification, moral life is necessary before enlightenment. And to all perspectives, that person is a very saintly person already. However, it is still not done until enlightenment is achieved. Swami Turiyananda gives the example of the iron touching the philosopher's stone. You know, the story is there, philosopher's stone, if metal touches it, it becomes gold. So he says that once at least the iron must touch the philosopher's stone, no matter how good the quality of the iron. You must transform it into gold. That means once, he explains also what he means. Once you must go beyond the mind and see that I am not the body mind. Otherwise, he says, jar shodbhav ache, tar ashodbhav ache. If you have purified the mind, that can again become impure. In bad company, it can become impure. Impure mind with great difficulty can be purified. But after some time, it can become worse again due to, samsara or whatever. So one must, at that point, from the pure mind to beyond mind, the Atman, pure consciousness, witness, that must be clear.
Thank you.
Ram Maharaj. My name is Jannavi. I had a question related to the meditation that you led yesterday. And you had mentioned the Mundaka Shruti, Tameva Bhantam Anubhati
Yes,
Sarva.
Mundaka Kathopanishad.
So my question was, I need a clarification on the Shruti itself. That shining, everything else shines. So I was reminded of another meditation session that you had done, a similar one, at the end of which you had asked that supposing that Sakshi, that light, were not there, then would it be even possible to talk about an objective world? And obviously the answer is no.
No.
So this led me to understand that even if the Shruti uses the word bhantam, which means light, shining, would it also imply that that light is lending existence to the objective world and
Yes.
therefore establish the identity between Sat and Chit?
Yes. The light is not only illumining. So the light and object example, Sankhya, that is, the light is illumining the object, but that light is not giving existence to this bottle. This bottle exists without that light also. But in the case of Advaita, the light is giving existence to that world also. It's like a hologram. It's like the mirror. In the mirror enables you to see the objects in the mirror, but it also gives existence to those objects in the mirror. They are appearing because of the mirror. Their existence is the mirror's existence. Not if you remove the mirror, not only you will not be able to see the objects in the mirror, they will not exist anymore.
So just to follow up on that, and this is what I've struggled with for a long time. If you stand in the Sakshi, if you manage to isolate yourself from the objective world and stand in the Sakshi, then doesn't the realization that the objective world is an appearance, isn't it like a quintessential, like something that follows it naturally? Why is there a second step necessary?
No, one might stop as the Sakshi, as the light and bottle example, Sankhya.
Okay.
One might stop there. Many have stopped there. That's why you have Sankhya philosophy. That's why you have Patanjali Yoga philosophy, yogic philosophy. After Asampragyata Samadhi also, you are left as light. And there is a real material universe quite apart from you, which you are illumining and experiencing.
So is this Shabda Jnana, the value of this is basically at that time, this knowledge, the knowledge of the Shastra, help you understand that what you have attained is Brahman.
Yes, yes, correct. That Sat is Chit, that you realize from this.
Thank you.
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Avinash, and it's a great privilege to be in your presence. We spent this retreat on who am I, what are nature. What do the teachings say about why we are here? And, why put us in the midst of samsara?
Yes.
What's the grand scheme?
Yes. So why is any of this here? That's a question. If I'm already Brahman, then what is all this? Why is Brahman creating such a mess? The author Somerset Maugham, he was well read in Vedanta. He's the one who wrote the Razor's Edge and other number of other books. He was actually well read in Vedanta. He had come to India. He met Ramana Maharshi, Somerset Maugham. So he said when he realized Vedanta says Brahman has created the world, he says one feels Brahman could have left well enough alone. Because we have put so much trouble, we are in so much trouble now. Now we are in samsara, we are suffering, we are born and age and go to school and then have job and all of that, get old and sick and die, and be born again and go to school again. Why? Why has Brahman done all this? So there are many answers to this. One answer is, I'll give you 4 or 5 answers. See what fits, which size fits. 3 answers, let's say. One answer is, it is because of, it is a school by which we are progressing towards enlightenment. We are in trouble. Let's start there. We are in trouble. How it all began, we don't know, but we are in trouble. Now what do we need? We need a fix to our problem. The cosmic fixer is God. And He has created this universe for us so that we go through school, we get educated, overcome our ignorance and attain to freedom. So the cosmos and life is a process of spiritual evolution. That's why we are here. That's one answer. Question there might be, why at all put us in ignorance? After all, you're saying it is Brahman alone. So why is Brahman in ignorance at all? So this is, not only that, many other doubts might be there. What a strange and slow process of growth. So much suffering, so much terrible thing. So much of it seems to be waste. What things are animals? What spiritual progress are the animals and insects? Are they attending Vedanta seminars? Are they inquiring, who am I? No. So it seems like a wasted life, and most of life seems to be wasted like that. Even us who think of ourselves as spiritual inquirers, how little practice and how little progress we are making. So if it's a school, it's a very bad school. Then someone said another answer to your question. Why all this? Because it is play. It is play, it is fun. Swami Vivekananda, an American lady in San Francisco, in Northern California, she asked Swami Vivekananda, Swami, is it true that it's a great school and we are here to learn our lessons and grow? And Swami Vivekananda said, no madam, who told you that? It is a circus and we are clowns tumbling. And then the lady asked, why are we tumbling, Swami? And he said, because it's great fun, we like to tumble. We like to tumble, it's great fun. So it's play. It's play. It's God's play. Leela. That's the Leela theory. It's a divine play of God. Against this, there can be complaints against this. Once Sri Ramakrishna gave this answer to a gentleman who had asked a similar question. And Sri Ramakrishna said, it is his play. What can we do? It is a play of God. And the gentleman did not like this answer. He said, it is his play, but it is death for us. It's death for us. It may be play for God, but it's death for us. What kind of play is this? So that's what answer is? Second answer. Play answer, fun answer. Then you can say, but God didn't create this universe. It is Maya. Brahman is appearing as this universe. So it is still Brahman only. It's not that there is Actually, ultimately, nothing has happened here. There is no real serious problem that has ever happened here. In the world of appearance, in the movies, the screen is appearing as a horror movie. Generally, when it's a horror movie, then we ask why. When it's a comedy, we don't ask. We're having fun. So, if it's a movie, then it becomes okay. Real horror. I give the example. King Kong movie. If really King Kong came into cinema hall, why a little monkey came, people would run away. But big King Kong is on the screen, everybody enjoys and claps. So, if it's a movie, it's okay. Now, the Maya answer is it's a movie. Brahman is the screen. Find out for yourself. You will see it's all right. There also one may still ask, why Maya? I'm pushing the boundaries further and further. No, let Brahman remain by itself. Why Maya? Why appear as a, let it be a movie. Why a movie? Well, first of all, only blank screen would be very boring. So movie makes it interesting. Now, why Maya? Swami Vivekananda said the question, there's a logical fault with the question. The question itself is wrong. Why? When you ask why, you are asking for a cause. Why is the grass wet? Because it's raining. Why is it actually raining? Why is it raining? Because of the clouds. Why are there clouds? Because of evaporation. Why is there evaporation? Because of the sunlight. So why? So if you ask why about Maya, what answer will you give? What answer beginning with because? You cannot. Because causality itself is part of Maya. When you ask a question like why, when you ask for cause, you have already accepted Maya. Then Brahman will appear through Maya as this universe. Causation works in the universe after Maya. But between Maya and Brahman, no causation. There is no causal link between Maya and, for the simple reason, causation starts with Maya. Brahman is the reality which always was, is, will be. Put it this way, that Brahman can, there are only two possible answers. Brahman can appear as something or as nothing. Brahman is doing both. In Srishti and Sthiti, Brahman is appearing as the universe. In Pralaya, cosmic dissolution, Brahman is disappearing. Brahman alone exists, the universe disappears. Not Brahman disappearing. Brahman alone exists, the universe disappears. So Brahman stops appearing. In our daily life also, in waking and dreaming, we are confronted with an appearance. In deep sleep, no appearance. So Brahman is satisfying both. If Brahman did not appear as anything, we would complain, if possible. What a useless Brahman, doesn't do anything. Ultimate reality, what ultimate? Nothing is doing. And if Brahman does something, all of this, we are complaining why Brahman is doing this, putting us into so much trouble. There are only two possibilities. Brahman will appear or not appear. Brahman is doing both. It appears in Srishti and Sthiti, in waking and dreaming. It does not appear in Pralaya, cosmic dissolution, or Sushupti, deep sleep. These are some of the answers.
So does Brahman want us to participate wholeheartedly in samsara or to transcend it?
Participate, but transcend ultimately. It depends on what we want. Brahman doesn't want anything from us except our welfare. If you think you want pleasure and power, and everything in samsara looks rosy and wonderful to you, dive into it carefully. Religion tells you within the bounds of ethics, and then see. After some time, you will see it will not be satisfactory. And then you pull back and you start looking for ultimate things. God, enlightenment, moksha. That's a sign of maturity. Sign of maturity is spirituality. Interest in spirituality shows a growing maturity.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Swami. My name is Chad Wiseman. I traveled here from Cleveland, Ohio with my friend, and been really great listening to your insights this weekend. This question was prompted by your insights about diabetes and the organ transplant example. If someone has severe mental illness, such as a psychotic disorder that has been in remission for many years because of chemical intervention, is it sensible to say that the medications, antipsychotic medications, correct issues with the physical organ that is the brain? The medications are not inebriating and contribute to sanity, serenity, and equanimity for this person, and he has been able to live a successful and complete life.
Absolutely. If you take medicine for the body and you're a spiritual seeker, we do. We monks also take medicine. If I'm sick, I go to the doctor. See, the sickness, if the sickness imposes so much suffering on you that you can't meditate, you can't study, you can't serve, you're laid up in bed, helpless, then it's an obstacle to spiritual life. Medicine, take medicine, treatment, therapy, and get beyond it. Same thing is for mental illness. For mental conditions, it's also an illness. And often it has its roots organically in the brain. So a little bit of medicine, some therapy, it can help. But it's not complete in itself. Beyond that is spirituality. One psychiatrist, he told me in India, his model was from patienthood to personhood to human excellence. So he will say, I will try to elevate you from patienthood to personhood. You're back to being a person. But a person is also a very miserable person in this life anyway. So from there to human excellence. Spiritual excellence, of course, ultimately, but all other kinds, artistic excellence, career, all of that, you push ahead. Personhood to human excellence. And the core part of human excellence is spirituality.
Thank you very much.
Namaste Swami. Thank you so much. My name is Sanskriti, and my question is that growing up in a Hindu religious family, we have always seemed to be worshipping God. So we are worship, and now from your lesson yesterday, we realized that I am consciousness, and everything that is here right now is that same consciousness. So when we say we worship God, are we seeing God as a separate supreme consciousness?
Yes. If we do not do this analysis, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm the witness consciousness. If I just remain as the person Samskriti, and then God will become this limitless consciousness, Brahman will become God for me. If I continue as a separate person, body, mind, and I don't take this path, then the other path that's open to me is the God path. The ultimate reality, Brahman, whatever is talked about in Vedanta, that becomes God for me. You can approach it in that way also. It will be the way of bhakti, of belief. The advantage of this way is, here you are proceeding in truth, in reality all the time. In the bhakti path, one proceeds with belief for a long time, on faith, until it becomes a living reality for you. It's the same reality. It can, as Sri Ramakrishna said, you want to eat sugar or taste sugar, both are possible. The devotee wants to taste sugar by remaining apart from sugar.
Yes.
And the jnani wants to be sugar.
Mm-hmm. So just because you mentioned faith, so even for realizing our own consciousness, do we require to have that faith?
Yes, Shraddha is one of the qualities, but there's a different kind of faith which is required in bhakti and one in jnana. In bhakti, it is foundational. You can't start with skepticism. Bhakti is belief and faith and worship and adoration and surrender to God. But you start with, I wonder if God exists. If God exists, I pray to God. No, that will not work. I am sure that God exists. How are you sure? In my faith. How did you get that faith? By study, by listening to the great spiritual masters from my tradition. But that's just belief. It's not just belief. It's belief supported by many things which ground that belief. But yes, you're right, it's still belief. In contrast, this path, it's not just belief. From the very beginning, one must have understanding. Otherwise, it's not the path of knowledge. But here also, Shraddha, a faith is necessary. Faith is not a good word. Reverence, respect, faith, all are mixed together. Otherwise, it will not sustain you on this path. If you have the reverence for the teacher and the text, then the understanding also comes much faster. Otherwise, if I struggle and fight it at every stage, the guru's task becomes very difficult. You are an old guy, you don't know. This is all old, outdated information. Today I learned from ChatGPT that this is so and so. Now what will the guru do with ChatGPT? So first one must have that kind of reverence in the guru's teaching, that what he's teaching is correct. Let me pay attention to what the guru is teaching. My views, my opinions come later. Let me immerse my mind in the teaching of the guru and the text. Then emerge from that, having taken a dip into it. And then you can think for yourself, what did I get out of it? Yeah, so these are two paths. Both will work. The path of bhakti also works, the path of jnana also works. But remember, in the path of bhakti, I also mentioned earlier, there can be two kinds of bhakti. A worldly bhakti, where I am worshipping God for what reason? God will take care of me, which is true. But God is really not meant for, money and relationships, for curing illnesses, finding a parking spot. That is, God will help you there, but they say when you're going to a king and asking for pumpkins, the king gives you an audience. What do you want? Maybe once in a lifetime. I want some pumpkins. No, don't do that. When you go to God, ask for God. And that's what pleases God the most. So that is real bhakti.
Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Swami. Zachary again. Is it okay if I ask two questions, and if you feel appropriate, a third?
Okay, let me.
Sorry, it's exciting though.
Let me answer the first one first.
Yes.
Don't forget the second one. Hold on to it.
Okay. All right. So my question is about the snake and the rope, right? And so, kind of, it's a great mystery. It's a rich parable, and so, so we have ignorance, right? But even ignorance itself is like the show of it is just also ignorance and illusion. So even moksha isn't exactly an experience, but on the other side of it, there's apparently freedom, right? And so, but if there is no fundamental change in anything,
Yes.
how do we find, how is there freedom on the other side?
Yes. So that's one amazing thing about Vedanta. And in Hindi, they said, Vedant koi tod phod nahi karta, jnana koi tod phod nahi karta. That means knowledge does not change things in the world, does not disturb anything in the world. It reveals the truth which was already hidden. So it reveals the truth to you that you are Brahman. That first of all, there is such a thing as limitless existence, consciousness, bliss. And it reveals that you are it, you always were it, just that you didn't see it. The seeing of it, the realization of it, solves your problems at the deepest level. Until that point, what do we try to do? We try to change things. We have this feeling, things are not right, so let me change them. First, we try to change the world. It's very resistant to change. We do it. And when we do it successfully, we build civilization, cities, and gadgets and stuff like that. Our life becomes better. Still, the problem is not solved. We are not fulfilled. Then we do something. We try to change people, their behavior. Almost impossible. When we become more mature, we try to change ourselves. My daily routine, my actions. That's a little more wise. Even that's not, you're not fully there. When we try to change ourselves internally, my thoughts, my feelings, my belief systems. So this is wiser and wiser and wiser. Still, it's not correct. It's not done. Then Vedanta comes with self-inquiry and says, this self which you are trying to change, do you know what it is? We don't know it. And once we realize what it is, we realize that, and that ultimate level, no change is necessary. It's already perfect. And I am that. So the knowledge sets us free, not change. In Vedantic terms, it is not action which will set you free, but knowledge. Now, is change necessary? Yes, until that knowledge change is necessary. I must reform my life. Otherwise, that knowledge will never come. There will be a long process of, say, moral struggle, and then struggle in spiritual practice, prayer, meditation. Those are also changes. They're all actions. Some are at the level of physical of behavior, some at the level of speech, some at the more important in the inner level of emotions and thoughts. Then only knowledge becomes possible. So this is the relationship between knowledge and action. Yeah.
Swami,
Second one?
yes. So I was thinking about how you said things are going to be changing and unchanging, right? As part of your reasoning.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of what puzzled me about that. And that does make sense. But a lot of this stuff does exist in paradox, right? And so how do you differ, like whenever you're trying to discern, how do you tell like what can coexist in paradox and what is actually like outright contradictory?
Yeah. Sufficiently advanced knowledge will show you that everything here ends with paradox. It will not end with a solution. When our knowledge is less, we seem to be moving, progressing, and going towards solution. When our knowledge becomes deep, we see it ends with paradox. There's a book, Impossibility, John Barrows. He's a mathematical physicist. I remember he gave a talk. There was a seminar at the New School in Manhattan. The seminar was on the unknown and unknowable. So they are saying that every stream of human knowledge, now that we are advanced, we see that it comes to a paradox. It comes to an incompleteness. At one time, they thought science will give us absolute knowledge. Very soon, physics will be complete. And we ended up with Heisenberg's uncertainty. Their quest was for certainty, and a deeper truth was uncertainty. The quest was for absolute knowledge, but a deeper truth was revealed as relativity, Einstein's relativity. In mathematics, there was a mathematician called Hilbert. He gave a program for the completion of mathematics. These are the things which you need to solve, prove, mathematics will be complete. And along came Kurt Gödel, who showed that mathematics cannot become. A deeper understanding of mathematics is incompleteness. So this is not that we have failed. We are actually advanced in knowledge. Relativity. This I'm quoting from Rebecca Goldsmith. I've forgotten her name. She has written a biography of Gödel. Rebecca Goldstein. So in the introduction, she says, look at the names: relativity, uncertainty, incompleteness. And that's because of the advance of mathematics, advance of quantum theory. That's why we are coming to this, advance of physics. So this is relativity, uncertainty, incompleteness. This is exactly what Maya is. And that shows you the truth must lie on the other side of this. You cannot complete it here. Your objective knowledge will never end with complete truth.
Thank you, Swami. May Christ bless you.
Thank you.
Swamiji. I had a question about Vishnu Sahasranama or like Lalita Sahasranama. So, what is a right way to recite it? Like specifically, there's like Falstuti and starting. Also, there are some things, and like I think basically, what is the right way and Sandhi Vichhed, is it important? I think that's
all of that. Sandhi Vichhed is important to understand the meanings of the Sanskrit words. Right. But in chanting, don't do Sandhi Vichhed. Chanting is the way the verse has been written. You should chant it that way.
Okay.
Don't split the words when you are. That's grammatically, when you're chanting, you must maintain the verse, the actual composition of the words. Now you can directly chant it. There's no rule as such. But if you want to chant it ritualistically, then there is a puja associated with it, which I've not done. I've done once, but there are rituals associated with it. So there is a formal ritualistic chanting, and there is just a bhakti chanting. The bhakti chanting one can and should do. Just sit down with calm, devotional mind, with a pure like dress and all. You sit down and then chant it. You can learn nowadays, thanks to YouTube and all, beautiful, authentic chanting is available on YouTube. You can chant like that.
So to be clear, Swamiji, you're saying like as it is, basically just start.
Yes, what is there? You just start, and you can follow the chanting on the YouTube and or other which is available online, and chant like that. Learn and chant it. So what I'm saying is the ritualistic chanting that you have to learn from a priest.
Okay.
But there is a puja associated with it.
Right. So the simpler one is just chanting, but the point is that which I wanted to understand is just chanting from the names is okay, or do we have to start from the?
Just chanting from the names also is okay.
Okay.
Or you can start with the beginning, the other hymns before it. Right. That also you can do. If you are doing it with bhakti, then these rules are not important.
Okay. Thank you, Swami.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Swamiji, my name is Visala.
Yes. So if you do it with bhakti, you won't mess it up because you are doing it out of love and reverence. So you'll be careful about it. Yes.
But with bhakti, just to bhakti way, even if we mess it up, if we correct it, it's okay, right?
Yes. And Sri Ramakrishna says that the children in the house, one says Papa, one says Baba, one says Pa, Can't say any more than that. Does the father love the baby less because the baby cannot say papa or father? No, the father loves all equally. Similarly, God loves us equally if it's a path of bhakti, if it's a path of devotion and reverence. So small mistakes you need not worry about. But of course, if there is reverence, if I know it's a mistake, I will correct it. Why will I let a mistake remain?
Swamiji, my question is just a clarification of what Swamiji explained this afternoon. So before enlightenment, we do the neti, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind and all of that. After enlightenment, Swamiji mentioned that you can be the Tesla, you can be the driver, you can be like I am everything kind of.
You see that.
You see
that. Yeah.
But then
Don't try to be. I realize, see, this is subtle, but it's an advanced tip. What is called? It's a master class. Master class. Pro tip, they call them. Professional tip. So here's a master class, a pro tip. That one sadhu said, Anant banne ka jid mat karo Mahatma ji. Don't be stubborn about being infinite. What it means is, I am limitless consciousness. This, I am consciousness, this becomes clear. And after that exercise we did yesterday in the first session. But then when we are taught, this consciousness is indeed everything. Now there's a tendency, why can't I experience myself like everything? I'm trying to extend myself so that somehow I can cover everything. But I'm not feeling it. I'm trying to feel it. Never try to do that. If you did feel it, it would become an object. It would again become the limited. The very fact that limitless consciousness cannot be experienced as an object shows that it is limitless. If it could be experienced, I am the limitless consciousness. I am feeling it now. If you're feeling it, you are not it. It's an object to consciousness then. It's some hallucination set up by the mind. So don't try to be that. But you see, it becomes obvious. Yes, that must be it. What else is it?
But Swamiji also mentioned that after that state, again, you mentioned saying you are not the driver and all of that. You come to another state. And Swamiji did not elaborate on.
No. When you realize, see, ways. I just wanted to show you the effect of enlightenment. Because after all, we say that I am not this, not that, not the body, not the mind. But once you realize Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, the other side of the mountain, when you look back upon body, mind, senses, world, Panchabhuta, sky, earth, fire, water, what is it? Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. Shiva alone is appearing as all that. Shiva is appearing as not Shiva in Alan Watts' story.
Yeah.
Earlier we did not know it. Now we know it.
Thanks, Swamiji. One last clarification I need. So in yesterday, my question about in Tattva Bodha, we have this at a Vyashti level and Samashti level.
Yes.
We have the Vishwa and Virat.
Vishwa, Virat, Taijasa,
Hiranyagarbha, and Prajna and Ishvara.
Yes.
But at the Prajna level, that is a Samishti causal bodies, right?
Yes.
But that is Maya, right? Is
Yes.
that's not that Maya with consciousness is Ishvara.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
But you can refer to that as Maya. Then.
Yes.
Okay.
That prajna is consciousness with ajnana.
Okay.
Or consciousness with Maya.
Maya.
And it's the same actually. There's a deep secret hidden there.
Yeah.
That Prajna and Ishvara become the same.
Yeah. Because for us it is Prajna with ignorance. That's why we wake up every day. And
We wake up as a Vyashti, as an individual. And Ishvara always manifests as cosmic mind and cosmic body.
Yeah. No confusion to be for him.
So no confusion for God. Confusion for us. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we are Maya Dhina. Ishvara is Maya Dhisha, Lord of Maya.
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Yes, speak into the microphone.
Oh, yeah, sure. So,
You can pull it out if you want.
yeah, I will bend. Swami, from your previous
What's your
lectures-
name?
Bharat.
Bharat.
My name is Bharat. Swami, from your previous lectures like Kathopanishad and also Vedanta Panchadashi, it says Antakaranam is there in the heart, in the space of a thumb, and the reflection of Brahman is in the Jivatma, Jiva Chaitanyam.
Yeah.
And the same reflection is also in the form of non-jada, worldly things, which is not reflective, but it's just falling on the light. So that's how the world is appearing.
No, yes.
And-
So the all the jada, they borrow existence. So
Right.
existence is reflected in all names and forms.
Right.
but in some names and forms, antakarana, existence is reflected and consciousness also reflected.
Yes, Swami. So that is very much pretty much clear. But in the example of city reflection in the mirror, like Dakshinamurtistam also starts with that. In that example, when you say like all the world is appearing in my Atma,
In the Atma.
in the Atma, or
Yes.
Okay, in my Atma. So then again, there are two things coming up. One is world, and second thing is mirror reflection of city.
That's why I said from the very beginning, Nijantargatam. Keep the city out of this equation. Only take the mirror and what is appearing in the mirror.
Okay.
That's why Shankaracharya makes it clear from the very beginning. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam.
Okay.
Within the mirror.
So in this context, just only need to see to the reflection and the mirror.
Yes. You
not
say,
to think
why
about
there is
the
a city outside? That is there in the example.
Right.
But the example is meant to prove one thing only.
Okay.
Otherwise, what will happen is, that is common sense. It's realism. There is a world and I see it in the mind.
Right.
That is called representative realism. It's a school of epistemological school. Yeah. It's a materialistic school.
Oh, so that was something bothering me from years.
So that what appears in the mirror is nothing other than the mirror. There is no city outside the mirror. You can take a television screen example.
Okay.
Instead of mirror.
Okay, where there is no object, just
There
the
is no
mirror
object, just the pictures
and
appearing.
Pictures. Swami, one more question, maybe silly question. When it says like everything is shining in Atman, everything is Atman, but nothing, like a dream example. So everything should happen according to my will.
Everything should happen according to my will. No, what is that my will? Isn't it the mind?
Okay.
The mind is also revealed in consciousness. Consciousness does not have a will of its own.
So for enlightened beings, they talk about Sankalpa Siddhi,
Yes.
things happen. So that shouldn't also be happening.
That should not happen, but that will happen because enlightened beings don't have this what you call limited sense of ego. I am this body mind. That is dissolved.
Okay.
Now what happens is Ishvara takes over there.
Oh. Okay.
This Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti, Sri Ramakrishna does not talk too much about it. He says, after Samadhi, one comes down by the will of God, by the Ishvara. So after that, what happens in the Jivan Mukta's life is all the will of Ishvara.
Okay.
So God is operating through them. That's why sometimes you'll see endless miracles coming in the lives of saints. God can do that. What is the Sankalpa of God will happen instantly.
But God don't have any wills, right?
God has will, of course. This is the will of God, the entire universe.
Okay, Brahma don't have will.
Nirguna Brahman does not have will. God has Hiranyagarbha, cosmic mind. God willed.
Okay.
And the universe came into existence. God's will is actually the only will that exists is God's will.
So,
God has will, God has power, God has action. Jnana, Ichcha, Kriya. God has knowledge in the sense we have knowledge. In that sense, God has knowledge. But God's knowledge is complete, omniscience. God's will is omnipotent. And God's action is infallible.
but in that case, can I say like I am support of in the standard of Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha? Can I say my thoughts are God's thought because I'm subset of him?
Yes, of course. God knows everything.
So my sankalpa is God's sankalpa. Can I say that?
No, your sankalpa is your own sankalpa, ego's sankalpa. Because the reason is I have become something separate from God.
Okay. But if I throw out ego, then
If you throw out ego by itself is not possible without realization.
oh,
The less egotistic we are, the more surrendered and devout we are to God, God will start using us. We are instruments for God. But right now our instruments are so bad, God's hand will be cut by trying to use us. We are very crude instruments, damaged.
I need to polish.
We are always, when God plugs us in, sparking is coming out. Wiring is not good. So when we purify ourselves, we'll become proper instrument of God's work. One distinction I did not make here, it's there in this book, in the chapter 3 itself. Being absorbed in Brahman, it is mentioned here and recommended here. Once in a while, you should be absorbed in Brahman. Now, Ramachandra says, might ask this question. All right, you are saying engagement in the world is not against enlightenment. So I can be the king. I can see your strategy, Ramachandra says. But you cannot deny, there are enlightened beings who are not engaged in the world. They may remain in a cave, they may remain in samadhi, they may have nothing to do with the world, nothing to do with, service,
Right.
doing good to the world. There is no such rule that the enlightened one has to do good to the world, no such rule. So in this book, there is a distinction between two kinds of Jivan Mukta, and you will find, and there's a note, I think in verse number, it's called Brahma Koti Jivan Mukta and Ishvara Koti Jivan Mukta. I'll tell you which verse it is. It is on page number 124. Notes to verse number 7, towards the end. Brahma Koti Jivan Mukta, Ishvara Koti Jivan Mukta. It's quoting something called Shambhu Gita. I have not read it. So, Brahma Koti Jivan Mukta, they are enlightened.
Okay.
But they will tend to remain in Samadhi.
Oh, okay.
They do not directly interact with people, or they may interact very little. The world may not even recognize them. They are fully enlightened beings. There are always such people. Always. Even now there are.
Jada
Like Jada Bharat, they may remain like that. Or they may be Ishvara Koti Jivan Mukta, which is the Ishvara Bhava is more pradhana, more primary in them. One is Brahma Bhava is predominant, another one Ishvara Bhava is predominant. Ishvara Bhava means welfare of the world.
Okay.
So they may teach. They may even do other things like helping people, schools, colleges, hospitals, any kind of help that people, Jiva needs, from food to enlightenment, food, medicine, education, up to spiritual knowledge. Jnana Dana, Vidya Dana, Anna Dana, Swastya Dana, all of that. That is also the activity of the Ishvara Koti Jivan Mukta. That distinction they have made here.
Can we say like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Vivekananda
Yes,
Swami?
no, but Sri Ramakrishna was an avatar.
Okay.
But Vivekananda definitely, Ishvara Koti Jivan Mukta. There are many others like that who teach. They may only teach, but that's also a great service. The Brahma Koti Jivan Mukta, this book mentions, they are also doing a service to humanity, just by their existence, but indirectly. Just their existence and remaining absorbed in Brahman, it sets up a vibration in the cosmic mind, which is of great help to Srishti, gives great peace and joy to Srishti.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm Tanya, and I'm asking this question as a mother to you.
Just come closer to the microphone.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm asking this as a mother. I'm trying to practice detachment, and
Very good for a mother.
but that's the problem. I can't detach myself from even my own pain, but when it comes to my children, I feel guilty doing it. So how do I?
Detachment with surrender. Detachment means I am doing everything I can and I will keep on doing. As a mother, I am deeply, intimately connected to my children. So when a mother practices detachment, there is no problem at all. See, in other cases, one might feel guilty. Do I not love my children? But a mother automatically, biologically, she loves the children. You're pulled to the child anyway. There, some detachment is good. Then that love becomes effective then. You are able to be more of service to the children than just by sheer sentimentality. You are there, the child has been given to you by the Lord. It treat the child as a spiritual practice. My Lord, my Krishna, my Saraswati, my Durga, Kali, Devi is present in the son or the daughter. Don't tell them that. As it is. Instead of becoming God, they'll become little monsters. Don't forget, Mom, I am God. No. You may even scold if necessary. So, think that God is present in them. Now, when you raise the child, it is a spiritual practice. It's a worship of God in that form.
But when it's my physical pain, I can detach me. But when they get hurt or emotionally or
Yes,
physically, I just
Of course, you cannot. You cannot. That's a mother. And that's how a child is protected and nourished, because there is at least one human being who is unconditionally and limitlessly committed to them. Not limited liability, unlimited liability. So that's how nature has programmed us.
So I should not
especially
feel
mothers.
guilty.
No, of course not. There you practice some detachment.
Okay.
See, if you are a mother, but you suppose you are a trained nurse or doctor, you know For helping the child, you might have to give an injection, you might have to perform a surgery, which is pain. But you know, in the long run, this helps. Everything, struggle, school, games, learning music, all of that is painful. And all of that you have to force, even if the child doesn't like it at all. But this is sattvic. What seems sattvic joy is that which seems poisonous at the beginning, but like nectar in the end. Rajasic joy is that which seems nectar-like in the beginning, but poisonous in the end. So, as a mother, if you are a little unsentimental, if you are looking at the bigger picture, then you can be detached. That detachment will come easily for you if you worship as God. So, that love, attachment will become bhakti. And then at the end of it, when the child grows up and goes away, you will not be attached. Your love will be for God. It will continue for God, not so much for the child, who does not now need so much of it anymore. The attachment to the child, the pain felt, that is the characteristic of the mother. Mothers will understand. How I know, when we become monks, so there are many rituals to be performed. One of the rituals is the shraddha, which you perform, the funeral ritual for your ancestors and especially your parents. Now, once you become a monk, you cannot perform the funeral rituals for your parents because you're cutting off contact with them. Then who will perform it? So that's why before becoming a monk, you perform the funeral rituals for all your ancestors. That's one of the rituals you perform before taking the vows of monasticism. Perform all the rituals for your ancestors, and quite shocking, perform for a Hindu, perform the funeral rituals, shraddha, for living parents also, even if they're living. So for a believing Hindu, it's very painful. It's very sorrowful. I've seen my brother monks, the tears come to their eyes when they perform. Usually it is done when somebody has passed away, but you are behaving as if the parents are dead. And then, cherry on the top, you perform it for yourself as if you are dead. So after that, you are dead to this world. That old person is ritualistically, formally dead. Yeah. In India at least, monasticism is equal to legal death. If you have become a monk, you cannot claim your parents' property anymore because law will treat you as if you are dead. So anyway, now why I am bringing all this up is mother. Now there are mantras, verses which have to be chanted for performing the rituals for father, for mother. Father, there is a paragraph. Mother, there is a whole page, including, it will bring tears to the eyes, including, I offered to this I offer to that one who suffered along with me and indeed more than me when as a child my body was racked with fever. She suffered along with me and more than me. That is a description of the mother. To that one I make this offering. Like this, verse after verse after verse. For the mother, many more verses are there than for the father. So yes, that is natural. But this practice, if you can do, it will be of great benefit to you and to the child. That you see as God, as Krishna, as Ramakrishna in that child, as my Durga, as my Devi in that child. Yes.
Pranam Swami. My name is Sunil. Swamiji, I am always challenged in trying to understand whether everything is pre-decided or it is my free will. And the more I try to understand, the more confused I become. So today, am I here because of my free will? I know it is your grace. But after your grace, was it my free will or was it pre-decided?
Yes, the free will question is a big question. I'll give a yes and no answer. Practically, you have to accept free will. The whole world runs on the assumption of free will. Law. Why do you punish somebody? It's because you assume out of free will, this person broke the law. Then only, if a person is declared mentally incompetent, or the person was forced with a gun to his head, then you cannot punish that person. So free will is assumed by law. Free will is assumed by economics, your consumer choice. Free will is even assumed by advertisers who try to influence your free will. Free will is assumed by politicians, democratic choice. Free will is assumed by religion. Otherwise, why so much advice? Do's and don'ts, practice like this, practice learn. If there is no free will, why so much advice? So the assumption of free will is everywhere. It has to be there. However, upon deeper inquiry, religion and nowadays neuroscience, philosophy, they're all telling us free will is an impossibility. So, what is the outcome of all this? The outcome of all this is, I will feel free will. Even if you're convinced philosophically there is no free will, you will still feel that you have freedom. So use the feeling of free will, the feeling that I am free to do this or that, to continuously surrender to God. So I will try to do my best, assuming I have free will, but I know ultimately there is no free will, it is your will. So it is your will, keep bringing it to the forefront of the mind. And then live your life. One philosopher said, in one thing you do not have freedom, that is in having free will. You have free will, you have no choice there. Yes.
Thank you, Swami.
Swamiji, my name is Archana. I was not going to ask this question necessarily, but your answer about mother made me get up. 2 friends in social circles lost their sons recently, one to suicide and one to an accident, untimely death. As a spiritual seeker, and so they are, how do you counsel them to this loss? What do you tell them?
Yes. Spirituality is the only solution to this. See, first of all, it is the greatest loss that a human being can suffer. Parents, grandparents passing away in the fullness of time is also a tragedy, but it is expected. It is in the natural flow of events. But losing a child, it's not natural. So it is devastating. There is, in English, there are words for orphan, person who has lost the parents. If you lost your husband or wife, there is a word for it. But a person who has lost children, there is no word for it. There's no word for it. It's so devastating. Others will go on. Parents generally cannot forget. So somebody put it so touchingly, said, it's a shadow that keeps growing. With every missed birthday, every missed important event in life. As I was a guest in a family where they had lost a daughter at the age of 14 to cancer. And that daughter, they have another daughter, luckily, a younger sister. So the daughter's room is now a guest room. Nobody lives there. So I was asked to live there. But I saw the pictures. The younger daughter now is grown up and gone away. The pictures, the elder sister's pictures end at 14. The younger sister graduates from school, goes to college, awards, stuff like that, marriage, the kid with grandchildren, those pictures. It goes on. That one stops at 14. Now I saw, if nobody else, the mother remembers. You can see it in her eyes, even so many years after this. So it is a great, great loss. It is one of the, I can't think of any other tragedy in human life. Yet it is possible. It happens. It happens much less now. 100 years ago, infant mortality was a huge problem. But of course, it may be crude to say this, but losing a baby and losing a child at 21, the big difference is there. Huge difference is there. So I mentioned Swami Premananda, Baburam Maharaj. His mother was a great devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. Now, Sri Ramakrishna one day asked his mother, if I ask you for something, will you give me? She said, of course. Give me your son. And she said, it is his great good fortune that he will become your disciple and stay with you. He became Swami Premananda, Baburam, his name was Baburam, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Give me your son. Yes, it is his great fortune that he will become your disciple. But does a mother give away a child just like that? I want something in return. So Sri Ramakrishna also, like you laughed, he laughed. He said, all right, what do you want? He said two things. One, I want unflinching, pure devotion, bhakti at the feet of the Lord. Give me genuine devotion. What a great thing to ask in return for my son. Second, he must not die before me. Bless me that I should die. So, see, one is a worldly thing. One is a great spiritual thing. But she knows the most, see, what a clear-headed lady. She knows the two most important things in life. One is goal is God realization, and I want that. You can bless me. I know if you bless me, it will happen. If he wants, it will happen. Second, worldly thing. She knows this is my weakness. This is one thing that I cannot tolerate. Everything else is fine. He must not die before me. So Sri Ramakrishna just laughed. He said, all right. Many years later, Swami Premananda, he had become a monk. He was one of the leading monks of the Ramakrishna order. He became very sick. And the other monks, they became afraid that he will die. He laughed and he said, the old lady is still alive. Don't worry, I will not die. But the next time, and he did not die. He came back miraculously. But the next time he became sick, just before that his mother has passed. And he said, this is the end. And he passed. So, how do you counsel? The greatest blessing is spirituality. If you can turn there by giving books, connecting them with lectures, bhajans, bringing them to gatherings like this, there is something transcendent beyond death. Death is not the end. That my beloved one still exists. And we too are beyond death. This is, the death of a beloved one is a gateway. Yes, you will miss them. But that is one thing, that is natural to grieve. But use this opportunity for your own spiritual growth. That is, you tell the parents. We had a very great Swami in Hollywood, the one who established this ashram also, Swami Sohanandaji. Now, in his reminiscences, he writes, when he was a young monk in Delhi, Ramakrishna Mission, many, many decades ago. So somebody wrote in those days letter, a couple who had lost their adult son. They are coming and we want to speak with you. Now, he was nervous. He had written to another senior monk, I think Saradeshan, he was in Vrindavan. I don't know what to say to them. So I don't know what to say. They're coming. What will I say? I feel completely inadequate. Then that Swami wrote back, you are a sannyasi. You have given up all worldly desires. You have dedicated your life to God. There's the presence of God in your heart. Say a few simple words of comfort. Tell them about God. It will help. You will see. You may not think so much about it. It will help them. So he did that. You do that. I'll give one more example. I think it was King David probably. It's in the Bible. He had a son, a prince, who became sick and was about to die. And the king, either King David or King Solomon, I think King David. The king prayed and prayed and prayed to God to spare the child. Then the child died. Next day, the king comes to the court. In those days, he's put oil on his head, he's taken a bath, and he's going about the business of the court. The ministers were shocked. They said, you were weeping so much until yesterday. Now the child is gone. The prince has died, alas. But how is it that you are perfectly normal? You are going about your daily business. He said, as long as my son, the prince, was alive, there's some hope. And I prayed to God to spare him. But the Lord did not spare him. In his wisdom, now that he is gone, I know that he shall no longer come to me. One day, I shall go to him. Yeah. So praise to the Lord. We'll go on with this. So this is the old time belief in God. Today, where people are shaky. I believed in God, I prayed so much to God, God did not spare my son, so I stopped believing in God. But what did the old time devotee say? His belief in God is not shaken. He prayed to God and it failed. It is the will of the Lord. He is with God. I will go to him one day. He will not come to me anymore. So his faith in God is unshaken.
In Bhishma Parva, when Yudhishthir asks Bhishma Pitama, and what you said reminded me, and that was the Pratham Mallanyaya, when he says it's the hardest fight to be fought, loss of your child.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar, Swamiji. I'm the last one. I'm Jaswant Sharma. I have a simple question.
Yes.
When are you conducting a week-long yoga retreat in Bahamas?
Next year in January, end of January, last week. It's not week long, it's 3 or 4 days, I think. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. We are 45 minutes over time. But that's all right.
Maharaj, on behalf of everybody, thank you very much. Couple of announcements. There is food on your way out. There is tea, coffee, and cookies. Please take food boxes while you are going. And it looks like it will rain, so run to your cars. We also have other programs. Our website has all the details. Please come again. Thank you. No, I can.
I put it in the box. I just put it in the box. in the donation box. For Swamiji. Yeah.
Okay. What did you write?
What the check was payable to them. They said they need check payable to pay or something.
Want any help with the chairs? We might need help eventually because these are some of the ashram chairs and we'll have to shift. Oh, I think what we can do is just like he's sort of like folding the chairs and keeping it on one side. If